Welcome to Comic Emporium, Panama City, Florida's most seasoned comic haven. But hold your horses, it's not just a comic shop, it's a treasure trove of pop culture collectibles, with a side of Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Card games. Whether you're a tabletop game enthusiast or a cosplay fanatic, we've got a range of weapons and miniatures that'll make your inner geek squeal with delight. And for the painters, we've got a whole rainbow of colours for your miniatures, models and terrain. Don't forget to roll the dice on our selection of math rocks and dice bags. And for the RPG lovers, we've got a library of Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder and more. Come on down to Comic Emporium, where you can play your favourite card, tabletop, war and RPG games until your heart's content.
Is it that one? I think it's that one. There we go. And there we are. We are once again live. And there. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to Candles and Coasters. I am your DM Alex, and you may notice that things have looked a little different, especially right now, as well as we've kind of been absent for a couple of weeks. Let's start with that, because there's been questions. You know, when we started Candles and Coasters so very long ago now, this was a passion project that we all put a lot of heart and blood, sweat, tears, finances, stress, effort, I mean all of it, everything. And 2 years has been a very long time in the stream world for us. We've had our ups, our downs, our bumps in the road, our technical difficulties, because we wouldn't be Candles and Coasters if we didn't have technical difficulties. And we are shooting here in the front of Comic Emporium right now. So you're going to get to hear all kinds of fun sounds, like fire trucks and ambulances going by, people driving obnoxiously loud cars, that kind of thing. That's going to happen. We're going to try our very best to limit it. I've got a new, well, it's not a new, I've got a mic that we used up here when we used to do Saturday morning shows. So, having said all of that, yes, Candles and Coasters has experienced quite a lot in those 2 years, and everyone has a stake in everything that we do here. And unfortunately, sometimes life happens. Life finds a way, you might say. And things get complicated, and you know, it's not an easy thing to do, to run the stream and be here every week and do all that comes in between. So there are people involved that definitely need to be recognized for their efforts, because we really, I mean, we can't do this easily without it.
Ghost printer.
Behold Larry in her natural state. If you were not aware, yeah, she's easily distracted. And don't look like that. The printer went off and you immediately...
I was very focused.
Yeah. Anyways, so to the people who made all of this possible, you know, we definitely thank you very much for all of this. We are going to continue. We are today... As you're probably wondering, why are there only one camera? Why is there, you know, what's going on? So we have to readjust all of our tech. We have to do a lot of rearrangement of a lot of stuff, and that takes time, unfortunately. But we didn't want to leave you hanging without letting you know something, and we're going to give you a little sneak behind the screen here, behind the scenes. Those of you who are local, you get to see these guys in action all the time when you come up and they're here. But we're gonna cover a few things that you don't know about that has happened behind the scenes. We're going to be doing some interviews with some of the players, like our lovely Larry here. Yeah. So, Candles and Coasters will continue on next Tuesday, provided that all of the things that need to go right today and through the next week, as we will be... It's not next Tuesday?
I think next Tuesday's production.
Next Tuesday is production. My apologies. So Tuesday after that, which is what, the 20-something?
Hold, please. I mean, continue. But...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So anyways, yes, we have one final episode of the Dragonlance campaign that we have to shoot. This is the end-all, be-all, decide everything, fate of the world sort of adventure.
Yeah, 17th is tech. 24th we come back to Dragonlance.
Okay, so on the 24th will be our final episode of Dragonlance. And then after that, we're going to move on to a new project where we will continue to stream. However, we're going to be streaming in a brand new world, a brand new system with brand new DM, and yeah, some brand new characters coming that way. But that's not why you're here. You don't want to hear just me talk. You want to hear from the players. You want to talk to them. So while this is going on, if you have questions that you want to ask our players, please do so in chat. We are going to be interactive through this. I have Facebook up as well as our Twitch channel. YouTube, sorry, if you're watching on YouTube, join the Comic Emporium Facebook page. You just got to like it, and you'll see the live video there. Or you can follow us on Twitch, which we really like followers on Twitch very much, because I can see that one right here very easily, and you can talk to us during game time. So, having said all of that, let's get into some of the very interesting things we've got going on. So, let's start with Aleri. Since you're here, and I have all these wonderful questions for you, let's talk about that. So, Aleri here, if this is your first time watching, plays the character Reverence. Why are you giggling?
I don't really play.
Oh, we'll talk about that too. Reverence is a Knight of Solamnia. So, first question that we have regarding Aleri and her character is...
I'm not going to look.
Look at her, she's so shy now. As Reverence cannot tell a lie, what has been the most difficult part of that as both a person, like a player, and a character?
It's really easy to, when you're playing in any campaign, make your character just make something up to try to get out of a situation quickly. You don't really have to think about how that character might do something, because everybody kind of fibs, right? So if you have a well-rounded character and you're not sticking to a very specific character type, you can just lie about it. I don't usually do that in other games either. I have a really hard time thinking on the spot anything. I don't like improv. I don't like making up stories. I'm not good at it. You've seen that. So it's actually okay that I can't lie. I think really linearly. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
that's a word.
It's easier for me to not lie and think, okay, how do I get around this by being honest?
Has there been much temptation to like maybe bend that a little to help a situation?
Oh, sure. Yeah, with Darrett.
Oh?
Yeah.
Should we talk about Darrett a little bit too?
Darrett's wonderful. And we're going to stop there. He's wonderful, and I think often about what she might bend as far as being a knight goes to make things work with Darrett.
Interesting. So Reverence mentioned that it would be better to lose a limb rather than lose your torso after discussing the reports with Astral about the city of Calaman's preparations in case they were overrun, about blowing up certain areas of the city.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, some of the ones that were provided by Sai, and there was a whole, like, sacrifices must be made sometimes discussion. How's that been sitting with Reverence and the harshness that truth sometimes has to be?
she really did not agree at all that there needed to be sacrifices in that. The discrepancy was losing a piece of yourself is one thing because you are volunteering that, but losing many people in a city that don't know it's coming, that, aren't aware they could be defending themselves and have no one to defend them, that's an entirely different thing. So that doesn't sit well with Reverence at all, and it doesn't sit well with me. And yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next one. I know you're going to love this question.
Is it about my arm again?
No, we're not going to talk about your arm.
Thank you.
Because you got it back.
Yes.
But we are going to talk about something that you have lost. So, what are your thoughts on the decisions of the children, on their ambitions for after all of this is over?
Well, Reverence is going through something that I am also going through. My kids are adults, right? And they're making their way out in the world. And when all of this started, I was prepping for that and gearing up for that, and I was terrified to see my little clones out there as adults. So I didn't even consider Reverence's kids going off on their own. I thought, oh, this is just a story. They'll stick with her. They'll stick with Astral. They'll be a happy little family, little orphaned and remade family. But now that, seeing children off and doing their own thing and succeeding, it is less terrible than I thought it would be. That first moment, okay, could you maybe not make them so freaking sad? But those first moments when the children decide to leave, those are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard. But Reverence understands that they need to go and do their own thing.
I'm glad you bring that up about it being hard, because one of the questions here says, everyone puts on like a persona when they get in front of a camera, and I mean, even I do that. I'm not always this confident, charming DM that you see in front of you. Sometimes I'm quite neurotic and anxiety-filled. But among the crew, they kind of have a ongoing sort of good-natured, teasing about, how...
Oh, is it good-natured?
Well, they think it is.
Is it?
You get very invested into your character and, like, into the story as well. And, but you make it seem like you really are the character. Like, you're not just putting on a face. Like, you actually become Reverence during these sessions, these playtimes. And we get to see some, like, real, raw emotion from you. And the question is, like, first off, is this real, or are you just a fantastic actor and you've got us all fooled? And if so, can you share some tips with maybe the rest of us, like how to get that deep into character?
So everyone we're gaming with currently, everyone who's a part of Dragonlance right now, knows me and has known me for a minute, 2 years, 3 years at least, some over 10. I can't act. I am not... I fumble through auditions. I tried very hard because my middle child was really into theater, and I tried really hard to do that with her, and that did not work. I am not a good actor. I don't like improv, though, either. The issue, I think, is I have zero narrative distancing. When I'm reading a book, it's happening. When I'm watching a movie, it's happening. When I'm thinking about, this storyline, when somebody's telling me what's happening, when someone else is responding in a way through their character, even if they're not using a voice, not in costume, they're just talking it through, I'm thinking through that and experiencing it. Now, that doesn't mean if you say you're going to kill me, I'm terrified you're actually going to kill me. Because I can tell the difference, right? This is real life, that's a game. But I'm deeply invested in that stuff. And, I don't have anywhere to put my emotions, so they just kind of come out, and I know it's about the crying. And I know there were bets, and I don't appreciate that. But I I had a lot to think about between sessions because of how powerful a lot of the stuff was. For me especially. You know, these things stick with me. And I read Dragonlance as a kid, so, like, having these experiences and being this knight and considering what I might be doing in those situations was really cool. I mean, I had just as much fun as I did, you know, sadness. That they were equal parts because I was really enjoying myself, even with Durin doing Durin things.
We should talk about that. Okay.
About Durin?
Well, yes. I mean that. But you like I said, you put on the character. Like you're not just putting on the character. Like you wear it like it's you. You react in the way that your character would actually react in this situation. And you've had some chaotic teammates.
Yeah.
And
yep.
You know, there's been quite a few times where I think you as Reverence are being tested, you know, to see if you can stick to that character or if you're going to break character and be a Larry for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, I know how annoying it could definitely have been, always having to be that voice of reason in the middle of chaos like that. And sometimes you do just want to go with things. Did you ever feel that? You know, especially with Durin and possibly Astral.
Durin, Tavares, and I have many experiences together.
How long
gaming.
have you known Tavares?
10, 12 years.
How many games have you been in with him?
Like, a lot.
So this is nothing new.
No, these antics are not new. Now, all of his characters are unique, but there's always a little element of chaos in what he plays. And that's really entertaining. When you're playing with it, though, and you're trying to accomplish a goal, sometimes it's less entertaining and more panic-inducing. But when it gets really bad, I just shut up and I, you know, focus on me and let Darrow or Layla or Sai handle that situation, because they can usually, you know, rein things in if they want to. If they don't want to and they like the chaos, it happens and I can just roll after. But yeah, I can't help how my face looks when I feel something. It's on my face. So if somebody does something and it's irritating, clearly my face is going to do like the, oh no, I'm irritated. But those are fleeting because this is a game and these are characters, so it's okay. They are allowed to do things that are irritating in that moment because the people that play them are not irritating. I love these people a lot.
Okay. So we talked about some of the harder things you've had to do as Reverence and some of the ways you, Larry, have had to kind of become that character and stuff. But let's talk about what's your favorite moment of the campaign? What's your most standout so far moment?
I don't know. That's really difficult. There have been a lot of really memorable ones, like Durin finally coming to Paladine, and Astral, you know, coming over from... Anyway, that's been really good, seeing them open up like that in character. Really seeing Tavares open the way he has in this, because he, like I said, he's always really unique, but he is full on with this one. I mean, and in between games we're talking about Ispin's rules and what Durin's doing and how he feels about things, and so that's been really entertaining. But I really liked, you know, the family aspects too. You know, the kids, Darrett, Astral. Yeah, that's fun. I'm gonna cry. We have to move on. Move on. Something else.
Here it is, right here. Well, you know, as I said before, we do need to talk about Derek for a second. Okay. So let's...
Are there spoilers? Are we spoiling?
Let's discuss...
Don't spoil. I don't want to cry.
Let's discuss the magnificent knight, Derek.
Who was just a goofy squire in the beginning. Oh my goodness. I thought he was... It was fine.
And then...
Now he's wonderful.
Was.
Stop it. Oh my... Move on.
All right. Moving on. Last question, and I'm going to let you go. And we're going to bring Layla up next. Okay. You are all set to play in this next project, Shadow Dark. Right?
Yeah.
Why don't you share a little bit about what we can expect to see from you as a new character, and more importantly, can you give us any spoilers?
Okay. I know so very little. I have nothing to do with the storyline, the campaigns, nothing. That is all. Do they know who's running that one yet? Can we say it? Okay.
Yeah.
So Zero running that one. You know, I don't know anything about the story. It's nothing. So I can't give you any spoilers. But maybe about me.
That would be great.
I really had fun building my first ever Shadow Dark character, which was way simpler than I thought it was going to be, and I was really grateful for that, because we've done a lot of D&D and Pathfinder and Blades in the Dark, and even Alien we did, and yeah.
Vampire,
some
werewolf,
of them are really,
yeah.
really complicated, and I really get tired of complicated. So it was really cool to be able to make a character really quickly, and I had so much fun with that, that I've kind of gone back to my serious roots in gaming, and I'm now a thief.
Oh.
Aha. And I'm a goblin thief, which is fun, because I feel like I have goblin energy just in a general day-to-day sense. But I'm very excited. And there will be... I'm not going to spoil the second one. I made more than one, because I figure I'm going to die. And I'm very excited about all of them that I've made. So, that's it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We do appreciate you, of course, joining us today, and I know you've got a lot of work to do, because you got to get everybody moving on to getting this tech stuff set up. So we're going to let you go.
I'm going to head back.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you once again. All right, so that was Larry. She plays Reverence, of course. Coming up next is going to be Layla, played by Loretta, and here she is now. She was waiting and ready.
Well, I didn't want to miss my cue, so I'm paranoid. All right.
Well, this is true. Out of all of the people here, I can rest assured you're going to be the most anxious of us all.
Yep, I'm going to be over here fidgeting with everything.
That's okay. All right. Okay, let me double check, make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, there's been none there. And let's see. All right. Okay, so no questions so far from chat. Fantastic. All right. Layla.
All right.
Okay, we got to start with character, right? Because in the beginning, you were a NPC of honor. You were like Shiny, and you were like Zero, where you were going to be one of the rotating players that was going to come in, play a very important story character, but you weren't supposed to be here for the whole campaign, and that all changed. So first, let's talk about you were assigned this character to build, sort of.
Ish.
Yeah. And you had to make Layla a certain way. You had very limited sort of rules that you had to build with for this. But if you could have made a character from scratch and joined with everybody else at the very beginning, do you think you would have made the same character, or is there a different character you would have made?
You know, I'm not really sure, because I didn't let myself really think about it. Because in our chat, it was, we have, and he gave us races. He's like, I need this, this, and this. And then you can make it however you want. The instant I saw Sea Elf, I was like, I want to be a pirate mermaid. And that was it. That was all I thought about since then. So I really could not imagine playing anybody else other than Layla.
Well, having said that, like, you are playing a pirate warlock whose patron is the Raven Queen. So when it comes to that, I don't really think of like a hero when I hear that combination of
She's
words.
Not a hero. She's not a hero. Yeah, no, she definitely is not a hero. She was not made to be a hero. The backstory kind of came as part of being an NPC. I was given certain things once I came up with part of it. The DM kind of helped fill in the rest. She was never made to be a hero. She is only being hero-esque because of her ties to the party. And I say hero-esque because, I mean, she's already ready to just stab people in the middle of them talking because they annoy her.
Yeah.
Like, she is having to rein it in because she's trying to be more responsible and not cause more chaos for them or bring more chaos to the party than we're already dealing with all the craziness that is the Red Dragon Army. And Durin.
Yeah, you can just
and
say
Astral.
Durin and Astral. Yeah.
He needs to stop riding dragons to the ground, for one.
Never. He's never going to stop that.
Yeah, no.
So do you think you found a good balance then between playing that hero-esque and sticking to being a pirate?
Definitely trying. There have been times where I've probably let the party be my conscience more than probably Layla probably would have, but, you know, that comes with every character. There is growth. You know, you don't end up in the same place you started. So, and it's good to see that progression, and it's fun to see that progression.
For sure. One of the things I've really liked about the last 2 years of doing this is seeing how everybody has grown, both as a character and a player. So, one of the things I guess we want to talk about then is, I don't think it has been said on camera yet, but what exactly is Layla's connection to Ispin?
So part of it's been said on camera, and then part of it has not, and I wasn't sure if, because we have one episode left, I wasn't sure how much more role-playing was actually going to be added in. So do you want me to spill all the beans, or are we going to see if some of the beans come out in the last episode?
No. Oh.
What'd you say?
She says don't.
Okay.
She says don't, so just leave the big secret hidden.
So we'll refresh, because it has been a while since Leia's origin with Ispin came into play. So when she was very, very young, we'll say close to, you know, being a 20-year-old as an elf can be, she ended up getting hurt in a big storm and kind of washed ashore, and Ispin found her. Healed her, like took her back, took care of her, healed her up. They became close, and she always enjoyed the land just as much as the sea, hence why she was always attracted to ships and all of that. So he set her up with who he thought were just merchants to, you know, be able to learn all of this. Lo and behold, they ended up being pirates. So, and she kind of went through the school of hard knocks on multiple ships, probably running back to Ispin when she needed to hide because things weren't going so well, until she was able to make her pact with the Raven Queen, and she ended up getting her own ship, and she could build her own crew that she actually could build trust with and let in specific people. And so she would just come back and forth to see Ispin in the middle, or if he needed voyage, needed to be transported, there's the word, transported anywhere, like, she would take him, they would spend, you know, months at a time together and share stories and more chaos, because, you know, even being an elf older than him, still kind of around the same-ish age and maturity. So, yeah.
Interesting. So big secret still to be revealed. There's more to that than we have said today.
Which, if it doesn't come out in the next one, there's one more Q&A.
Yeah, we're going to do another Q&A with everybody.
So she can spill all the tea then if need be.
So, okay, there's a lot about Layla's backstory that we hinted at throughout the last couple of years now. And one of them is definitely this connection to the Raven Queen. So for the first time, let's actually hear that story. Like, why the Raven Queen, and what was the bargain made?
So do we want to go with what the player kind of thought when she picked it, or are we talking about what the character? Or a little bit of both.
Yeah, let's hear a mix of both.
Well, me going, I've never played a warlock before. This will be fun. I'll try out a warlock. And I was just reading over. I was like, okay, well, this subclass sounds cool. And then it gives you a list of people in there. I was like, oh, I love ravens, so we'll just go with that one. So we'll put a whole lot of thought into it. But more so when it comes to Layla, she was, like I said, back from ship to ship. Being a pirate is not necessarily easy. It's very dangerous. So I kind of always envisioned for her, because another small tidbit is that she does have a little bit of favor from something in the deep that she doesn't know what it is. So one of the times she was probably in the middle of the water trying to figure out how to, but she didn't want to go back to the sea and figure it out. She wanted to stay with the boats, and the Raven Queen probably came to her in a time of desperation going, you're struggling, I can give you the power you need and you want, and I can give you the life that you have been craving. So that's kind of why her boat is also a combination of the sea with the tentacles and all of the crows and the feathers along it, and the coloring of it being that darker gray, because it is a combination of both the sea person that she actually doesn't know who it is that gave her favor, along with the Raven Queen, who is also very connected to the sea and everything as well, but also to the land. So it just kind of culminated with her personality more than I realized when I stared at a book and went, that one sounds cool. So, yeah, probably she just shipwrecked in the ocean and was, gifted promises, and she went okay, and that did not always go the best for her. The time as we saw on stream. She gets a little mad.
So let's
doesn't listen.
Switch gears here, because you were also a player in Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
Yep.
And you got to play Dragon Rage Sage there.
Yes.
Rage in a Cage Sage. How did you mentally prepare to switch back and forth each week, given that those two characters are very, very different individuals?
They are. Well, my general, I guess if you can call it a ritual beforehand, is I tend to listen to the stream from the previous week before we come in. So that kind of reminds me where we are, what's going on, and kind of helps get back into the headspace of that character a little bit. And also the costumes kind of help too. They have a different feel when you're in them. It can feel like a different skin. So...
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of costumes now, you are one of our individuals who does show up at every session looking a little different than when you arrive.
Yeah.
Your costumes are detailed, and how long exactly does it take you to get into costume?
So
what all is involved in that too?
Oh, Lord have mercy! I have a whole bag that I bring that comes just for costume. I look like a pack mule coming into the shop with my bag with my books and my character sheet, my dice, and then the other one with all of my wigs and clothes and jewelry, because even though you can't see it on camera, each individual character even had their own jewelry that was specific to that character. It probably used to take me maybe 45 minutes or so, roughly on average, probably about 30. I have done it as quick as I think 15 minutes when work ran over and I got here a little late, and I was like,
So it can be done. You're just choosing not to.
Well, it's nicer to be able to take your time rather than rushing and it almost like taking out my eyeball trying to put in my contacts. I lost one of them in the sink one time. That was fun to try and find while I'm half blind, going, I can't. But yeah, and I will be so happy to not be wearing a wig in the next one, because that has my head has not liked that one so much.
Yeah.
It gets a little itchy towards that 2 hours.
Well, speaking of the
next
2.5
hours.
project, you're going to be one of the players like a Larry in the next Shadow Dark adventure. So what about you? Can you maybe share a couple of spoilers with us and some of the coasters watching?
I can. So I am playing what is called a Marsilian, which is a mushroom person. Shadow Dark is a very monochrome themed book cover and everything, so that kind of spoke to me. And so she is a more black and white, just themed character, very monochrome. And she is going to be a witch, so definitely magic-based, with the possibility of death being a little bit higher. There are backups, and the way she could transition into these other characters is something that I am kind of excited to potentially get to share on stream. I'm not going to spoil it here, but I am kind of excited for that. That being said, I did crochet a mushroom hat, so costume is not going anywhere. We're still going to be decked out. Just no wig this time because I couldn't steal it. But thankfully, Kira was kind enough to help teach me how to crochet so I could actually work on this hat.
Kara is our resident craftsperson
ahead
here.
of time or after stream, I was like, I'm having trouble with a stitch. Can you help me figure it out? And she would always get me straight and back on the path for it. But yeah, her name is Eclipse, and kind of going with a moon-ish theme to begin with. But we'll see how that goes, because the other fun thing is my other characters get to be named by you guys.
Oh, that's
or
right.
The other players.
That is right. You did say that. You're going to be opening up the naming of your characters to our
tremendously
coasters.
Regret this.
Yes. Oh, I will make sure of that. I have a list of embarrassing names.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll just be players or if we'll also open it up to chat. We'll kind of see if people can come up with what people can come up with. So it'll be interesting.
That's excellent.
Maybe even putting out some polls to see what it should be.
I love that.
But
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, final question. I'm going to let you run off because I know you've got work to do, and I know that Larry is waiting on you. Okay, back to talking about Layla, right? Okay. If her pirating adventures had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh. I had never even thought about a theme song. I honestly don't know. I hadn't really thought of that one.
Oh. Well, okay then.
The only thing that comes to mind is the pirate theme, like the yo-ho from Pirates of the Caribbean, but that's so generic. But it would probably be a more,
Chat's got some suggestions for you. Yep. Pirates who don't do anything.
It would probably be like more of like one of like the, if anyone's seen the show Vikings, that like theme where, you know, ooh, like more along those lines. Not really lyrical, but more of just a feeling of being lost and out there.
Exciting. Okay,
lost
so
and found.
we'll have to find out if we can get a theme song going for her.
I might have to actually think of one for the last Q&A or the last actual.
Yeah.
Ooh, as we sail off into the sea.
Let's see. We have questions from chat.
Oh.
Let's see. On the wonderful topic of sacrifices and losing limbs versus losing vitals, your first party member kill. How did it feel?
In this
as both a player and a character.
In this campaign.
Yeah, in this campaign. So how did that feel? I know it was unintentional, but like.
Oh my God! The cameras stopped, and I looked him dead in the face and went, "Oh my God, I am so sorry." I was apologizing to him profusely outside of game for probably a month afterwards. We play a Thursday night game off stream, and we're in that with him. And yeah, every time it's the first thing, hug. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I felt so bad about it because it did not register to me at all that was going to be a consequence of killing something as far away from him as it was. But yeah, no.
I myself am also guilty of this. We don't have to. We don't have to talk about that one.
No, we'll say that for another time.
I am very responsible for a few party wipes due to some, we'll say, oopsies.
Jumping on some podiums or not.
Whatever you want to call it. And I've had to do some apologizing before. So for maybe not for me exactly, but maybe for our viewers, our coasters who are watching, can you give us any tips on maybe like how to deal with those in-game oopsies, especially outside of the game when they're staring at you with that murderous look on their face? Crying?
No, I have not. I did not do well with it. I did not do well with it at all. It's only happened one other time in like the 20 years I have played D&D, and that was the whole party turned on that one person. So it hasn't. It's not. You weren't even there for the one time. That was Lee.
Oh.
But to actually have it happen as an accident, that was definitely a first, and I did not handle it well. No, there was no advice. I didn't do well. I did not. It was extremely bad. Yeah.
All right.
No, groveling happened. Lots and lots of groveling.
Oh, for sure. Okay, well, thank you very much. I know you got to get to work. I know that you've got a lot of tech stuff if we're going to get this thing going back again. Again, that was Loretta. She plays Layla, and she was also Sage in the Wild Beyond the Witchlight campaign. I want to really thank our chat for being active so far. We are not done. We still have 2 more people to interview. Some questions that I have been asked here is favorite D&D encounter type. So as a DM, I love to have those social encounters, right? Because that's when I get to play a part. When it's combat, sure, combat's fun. It's rolling dice, but as DM, your job is not to kill the party off, despite what some people will say. I'm a very big believer that the party can do that on their own without your intervention. That is it's more difficult to keep them alive than it is to kill them off. So I love the social encounters because that is all role play, and you really get to see the character side, the role play side of these character sheets that they've built, and I like to see that the history of the personalities that come out during those moments. Even with like a Larry who does not do improv, she does not like being put on the spot. If I have to, put her in a social encounter like that, I can guarantee you that she is going to give me some gold because she is panicking in that seat. But it's always good. It's always good stuff. Other questions. What other hobbies or interests do I have that might influence character choices or role playing? Oh gosh. I'm a giant nerd. If you know me, you know that I'm a huge guy, 6'4", built like a van, and I have been a nerd for as long as I could walk. I've played every game you can imagine. If I wasn't playing the game, I was building my own games, and I've played just so much stuff, and everything I do, I take a little piece of. All of the books that I've read, all the movies I've seen, all the shows I've watched, all of the places I've been, I find something that always finds its way into either my characters or the games that I run. I do a lot of realistic DMing, where I think about, realistically, how would this work out? If obviously magic exists, right? Like, magic definitely bends the rules and breaks the rules, sure, but within these worlds, like, the people are still real, and it can be kind of fun to bring out those memories of past experiences and have those be a part of it. So I would say I've done too many to name to really say it all. I guess my answer is I've done it all. I've seen it all, but I've still got more to learn, and I'm always adding new stuff as I find new things. I'm recently picked up a new book series, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this magic system. How do I make this work? Okay, Monkey Man, how's my vocal range? As a singer, terrible. Absolutely, I do not sing at all. As the voice of some of the characters, I find myself slipping into the same accents for certain character types. Obviously, when I think dwarves, I think Scottish, and when I think orcs, I usually go sort of a monotone, growling, just Grumps gonna smash. But some of my favorite characters who I've played in the past are like Samir, who is just a fun guy, not in the mushroom sense, but just really interesting. He's got a little bit of a. I think we run. I think we run now. Yes. No more. Bye now. Bye. No more dates for me. Thank you. Boomstick. Bye. Gotta go. And then there's of course, my favorite character I think of all time is you know him, you love him, and I have to think for a second to get into his voice. But it's Jericho Mossblossom of the Westbriar Moss Blossoms. You gotta say a whole thing. He's a little bit country. He comes from deep south, and just Jericho is one of them individuals. He just likes to talk, and sometimes he don't realize that he's doing it, and sometimes he does, and he just keeps going anyway because he likes the sound of his own voice. And he gets to start to stuttering, and he'll say he likes metaphors, and like two birds in the hand are worth like 7 in a pen, or something like that. You catch more flies with a fly swatter than you do with a water hose, that kind of thing.
Jericho.
What?
You can borrow 0 now.
Oh, okay. It looks like I'm being told I got to move on. But I have more questions. All right, guys, I'll come back. I have to think about it to come out of Jericho because he's such a big part of me. You definitely can trust Jericho 100%. He's going to tell you the absolute truth as he sees it, and mostly it'll be true, but it'll probably have just a skosh of some exaggerations because he is prone to storytelling, much like myself. All right, I'm going to get back to some of the questions after we do our next interview here. We have Zero, also known as Dustin, also known as Vitus, also known as my best friend Torn from Wild Beyond Witchlight. Yes, love my Torn the Minotaur Bard here. Dustin here, Zero, as you know him in chat. Let me find your questions, sir. Let me see where you at. Oh my God.
Ready.
Oh, that's fun. I seem to have not printed your questions.
Yay!
That's fun.
Wing it.
Yeah,
They're on the Discord.
Yeah, I know they're on the Discord. I just got to back up to those. Okay, all right, here we go. Questions. Let me see. Where are you? I know I got you. There you are. Okay, so, all right, yeah, these questions are so. First off, welcome. Thank you. I know you're busy back there. I know you're one of the ones that is helping set up with the sound tech and everything.
My buddy's doing all the work. But
so let's get into this right now. So you've actually seen us from the very beginning as an NPC of honor, and you also played in Wild Beyond the Witchlight. But let's talk about the very beginning and where we are at right now. So how different was it seeing the party dynamic, now versus like when we first started off?
oh wow, it is so much different because I remember, like, granted we were all on that like very very first stream getting everything set up. Like the nerves in the room were just insane. All of us were nervous. None of us kind of like we all had to keep telling ourselves, like, and I think you even mentioned that, like, remember, you're just playing a game. Like, just play the game like you normally would. You're just playing a game. Don't worry about anything else. Just play a game that you love. But then now, because I remember whenever my character got to come back in that last episode, it was just like the energy and the vibe of the room is just so much better. Everyone's much more confident. Words are hard. Everyone's much more confident. The energy is high, and it seems like people are just raring to go. And, you know, as they say, practice makes perfect. And the more and more you do something, the better you get at it. So, like, everyone's kind of being shy and quiet, and now almost everyone is boisterous. So.
Yes, this is true. Now, they do have to kind of thank or blame you for that, because, like, your character is the one that kind of set them on their path.
Yes, Vitus. Yes.
Vitus was really the like reason this party really kind of got together, stayed together, and has been working towards a singular goal here. And because of that, like, how does it feel knowing, like, seeing it? Because you get to view it from home, you know, like. There they were at the beginning, fledgling adventurers, and now here they are at the end of this adventure, going into this final big bad battle, and, like, how does it feel to see where they are at as characters now?
Oh, it feels, like, incredible, because not only have, like, the characters have grown, but their players have also grown too, and for that perspective, that's been the most awesome thing to see. But yeah, Vitus was shocked. He got to see, like, this little tiny kinder person turn into a freaking dragon. Yeah. So, and then he got to ride on it with the dragon's claw, so that was epic.
That was pretty neat.
And then seeing, like, this pirate warlock, which I'm sure he has some thoughts about that, but, you know, she is defending the city, so I don't want to spoil too much, but he does have a speech planned for a certain little thing, so that will mention his thoughts on each character. So.
Oh, excellent. But we do. Let's talk about Vitus a little more in depth here, because you know, he's not just like a throwaway character. He's a recurring, important piece of the story here. So, how did you feel about Vitus being kidnapped to begin with?
Yeah, that sucked. I didn't get to play. I was like, what? But I mean, I knew it was kind of gonna happen because us NPCs of honor, we know things. But but yeah, I was like, man, I hope they save him. And then the whole time I'm watching the party doing, like, other things, I'm like, are you guys gonna go save me? Like, I would like to be rescued now.
Right.
So yeah, it was definitely, but yeah, he obviously came out on top because I'm not dead yet. So
this is true. This is true. You are not. But you know, we kind of talked about this a little before when you were first coming back in for this final bit here, and you know, I revealed a little bit to you about some of the people that you were going to get to face. But I think my favorite so far for you was when I revealed Bakaris the Younger as a traitor. To not only Calaman but to the party, and also, you know, somebody who's just obnoxiously evil. Like, he's the kind of guy that you're like, it's okay if he dies, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Like, where is Vitus at when it comes to, like, he has just seen, you know, this reveal, and the betrayal now is complete. So where is Vitus's mindset right now?
On one hand, he definitely probably saw the betrayal coming, but and on the other hand, this whole time he has been waiting. Give me a reason. Give me a reason. Give me a reason to stab this mother. Give me a reason. Now he has his reason. So I believe when we last ended, Astro and Vitus were about to fly side by side, and we were even talking about it. It was like, yeah, we're going to pencil attacker, knock him off, like kill him ASAP. So he's kind of excited to get this kill.
So no mercy there at all.
Oh, no mercy.
No, this is one of those satisfying moments, you think?
This is when he's abandoning all night code, doesn't care about any of that. He's going down.
So as a player, do you think, who is going to be more satisfied with this outcome, you or Vitus?
Probably me, the player.
No. Yeah, okay.
Vitus does have his honor, but me, the player, I'm like, nah, let's just stab him, knock him off, burn his body, get him ate. Hope when he falls, he gets torn apart by 2 dragons. That'd be cool.
All right.
However, he can go down.
Excellent.
Good job playing those characters, because I hate both of them. But that means you did a good job. So.
Well, thank you. I do like to play the heel, because I get to make you guys look good. So let me see here. Well, okay, let's talk a little bit about Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
All right.
Because you were a major player in that. One of the, you were one of the 4 of us that were there, and extraordinarily important to the story. And so when it comes to playing the part of Torn, what kind of challenges did you have to be the bard?
Well, at first it was fine, because I was told there would be no combat. So I made a non-combat character. And then we started doing combat. And I'm like, none of my spells are meant for this, aside from, because I made what I call, it's not really like a subclass, but I call him a heavy metal bard. Basically, you play a bard and you choose all lightning spells, and you use lightning through your lute to be able to play metal. So you have to take all lightning magic that's available to you.
Love it.
Which can cause some fun, such as, putting my fairy friend in a box and blowing up rooms and accidentally hurting allies. But they can take it, so they were fine.
I cried for like 3 weeks. I was mortally injured by that.
Yeah. What's funny, though, is looking at Torn being a Minotaur and how he gets the plus to strength, and considering I rolled the 20 on strength, I'm like, I could have just played him as a fighter with bard spells, and it would have been just fine. Like, he was pretty tough. But I think that was the biggest challenge, was I made and actually the second time I've done it before, too. So it's like and the first time was a bard as well, so it's like I have a bad habit of, I'm going to be a bard, I'm just going to be funny, goof off, and then it's like, oh, this is now combat, and I can do nothing. But it was just trying to find, good spells afterwards. Once we started fighting, I was like, all right, I need to kind of adjust his build a little to where he can be somewhat viable and not be killed by that Jabberwocky thing. Yeah,
that was tough.
That was fun.
But during the course of that campaign, was it, or what, we were on like 30-something, 40 episodes?
Something like that.
Yeah. What I'd love to know, though, because you didn't really touch on it, you were a bit of a songsmith. You were writing all the time. You had a little notebook and everything that you were filling with lyrics for the game and stuff. Was that just something you were doing and kind of got caught, and we were like, hey, you're going to have to do these on stream, or was this something you had planned the whole time? And what was your thinking about that?
I had planned it because Torn actually comes from the very first character I ever actually got to play in D&D. So I had DM first, and then I eventually got to play. and I made this tiefling bard called Mortho Torment. And then Kara said, you can't play tiefling. I was like, cool, can I be a minotaur? And so it's basically the same character in a way. But I like to write songs, and back in like high school, I would write songs all the time, usually of the rock heavy metal variety. Sometimes I would dabble in hip hop and rap. I just enjoy writing, and I haven't like written music in a while, so it was kind of nice to bring that side of me back up, because I did it all the time in high school.
Sure.
I don't know what I was going through. Not like I had like a bad childhood, but apparently.
Well, you gotta have a bad childhood
I know.
to write good metal. Like,
I know,
mean,
right?
What are you talking about?
A lot of songs were depressing at times, but yeah. So, and then with Mortho Torment, that was like an online campaign on, George.
Yeah.
George, yeah. And granted, there was a lot more people too, because he definitely overestimated how many players should be in a game.
Sure.
So while I was waiting for my turn, I'm just like, all right, well, I guess I'll write some lyrics. Okay, I think on my turn I'll cast bardic inspiration on this person. So then I wrote little lyrics that went with their character, and then I figured that would be fun to bring into stream and add some comedy and humor and just keep the song.
Definitely did. It's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
You know that. I told you all the time. Could wait for it.
Nathan Explosion from Metal Apocalypse was like the biggest influence of just writing silly metal lyrics that are just overly badass.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I know you want to talk about this. I know you're excited to talk about this, because this is the thing that you have been putting so much effort into.
I'm only wearing the shirt.
I know. I knew. I was like, all right, he knew. I know what he wants to talk about tonight.
Of course.
Okay, so you are about to be the literally the face. You're going to sit in my seat.
Mm-hmm. Some big shoes to fill.
You're going to be running the next project here as DM, and not only that. I mean, that alone is enough, right?
Yes.
Like that sitting in the DM chair is stressful.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it is.
But you're going it a step further, because you're not just being the DM. You're teaching players a brand new system right on stream, like as it's happening.
Yep.
Because you've made it very clear from the beginning, like you're like, no, we're going to do all of this in front of the camera, because you want people at home to see just how intuitive this system is and how interesting it is. So you're sitting in the DM's chair. Mm-hmm. You are the face of the next project. You are teaching a brand new system.
Yes.
And you've got some interesting sort of ideas for some of the actual physical, practical effects that are going to be happening here I'll remind you in a moment. So let's talk about that. Are you nervous at all?
A little bit, yes. A lot of it, if truth be told. But I was a theater kid, so I'm used to... I kind of look at it just like it's no different than being on stage. Like, if I can perform in front of people on stage, I can sit behind a camera and just... Again, it goes back to what I said. I'm running a game. Just do it how I do it at home.
That's right.
I don't have to
forget the camera is there, and you just focus on your players.
But yes, so usually with nerves, I always tell myself that, like, yes, I do get nervous, but to me, it's a good thing, because being nervous about something shows that you care about the project, because you want it to be good and you want to do a good job. So I usually try and find a way to, like, harness the nervous energy.
Yeah.
In fact, back in my stage days, a lot of times I get so nervous I would not eat. Before a show. Like, I would go all day without eating, and then the second I would get on stage, do my part, I go backstage, scarf out a protein bar, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like, after I say my first line, like, we're good. So I'll be a nervous wreck, but then as soon as...
until that first line.
Yep, up until I'm like, welcome everyone. Like, as soon as that goes, then it will go away, and I'll just harness the energy. So, yes, I am nervous, but it's not a bad thing.
I can tell you, having sat in the chair for so long now, and not just for stream, but actually, as long as I've been DMing and teaching DMs and teaching brand new players, there is a moment just before you begin where you have that thought of, oh my gosh, like, what am I doing? Like, am I gonna mess this up?
Every DM has imposter syndrome.
Oh, absolutely. 1,000,000%. And there's plenty of amazing, great DMs out there, like Brendan Lee Mulligan. Heart, so much love. I hear a cough from back there. But yeah, there's so many great DMs out there, and you want to compare yourself sometimes. I know that's something that I do, because I watch them, and I think I'll never be that. I can't do that, obviously. but the moment you open your mouth to speak, and you are no longer Dustin, you know, you are now the DM. This is your world. This is your seat. And what's great about it, I've always found, is even when, like, I've come in many times, and nobody would know this other than people who are the closest to me. Like, I've come in and I'll be just mentally, emotionally a complete and total wreck, due to life, due to, you know, being sick, whatever, and I'll be sitting there and just completely like drained and down, and I'm going like, oh, I got to get it together, I got to do this show now. And as soon as I get those first lines out, I don't have to rely on my own energy any longer, because I get to see you guys, and I get to, like, you guys just kind of fill me with your energy. Like, I get to borrow from you.
Yes, feed off the players.
Yeah, and for the next 2 hours, I am perfect health, not a problem in the world. And as soon as the camera snaps off and, you know, it's all done, then I'm right back to, like, sick as a dog, running a fever, you know. But for that 2 hours, I'm not me anymore. I'm not the one who's sick. I'm not the one who's in turmoil, you know. And so I'm telling you now, and you already know this, but once you get in the seat and you start doing this, you get the love of our fans, the coasters out there, who are going to just lift you up. And I promise, nobody knows what's supposed to happen. Only you do.
This is true.
So even if you make mistakes and stuff, it doesn't matter. Nobody knows.
Especially with this system.
Yeah.
I mean, once the Shadow Dark people watch it, they'll know. But
speaking of that, now. So
there's been lots of Shadow Dark questions already.
Well, I know, because I know it's something you want to talk about. Let's discuss that. You are about to put on this brand new system and everything, and you've actually been talking with the creator of the system.
A little bit. She talks to everybody. Like, you post stuff on the Discord, because I've had questions and rule checks, and I would put it on Discord, and it was shocking because, like, she would answer, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Now, from what I hear, it's entirely likely that she may jump into one of our streams and watch you run her game system.
That would be amazing and awesome if it happened. I cannot confirm nor deny. She is a very busy girl. I mean, they are aware of it, and I think once I put more things into the Shadow Dark Discord and build the own section where we can share the streams, it might take a few streams, but I know she's very hands-on, like Shadow Dark's her baby. Yeah. So she is Kelsey Dion of the Arcane Library. She's the one who created the game. So, and she did a lot of awesome 5e modules too. But anyways, yeah, she's very hands-on with it. And I would watch smaller YouTubers that would mention Shadow Dark, and then there'd be a comment from the Arcane Library. I'm like, what the heck? And then there was this other, like, stream. It was like a Valentine's Day stream, and they were, granted, they pulled in decent numbers, like 500 and 1,000 or so. And then they did their Shadow Dark where Kelsey as a player. Yeah. I felt bad for that DM, because this is what Shadow Dark was like new. Yeah. And I'm like, how did he learn the system to be confident enough to, like, yeah.
So you think you'd be nervous if you see that screen name?
Oh, I'll be incredibly nervous. It will. I could see it might be like a serious moment or serious role play moment, but as soon as I see that name in chat, I'm like, stop everything! Like, everything will stop. But who knows?
A little bit starstruck, huh?
Yeah, but with
Shadow, you've been putting a lot of effort into this. Oh, yeah. I mean, how long have you been working on this stuff? Since last year, right?
Yes, because originally I think the idea was to go on after Witchlight, but then that changed because we wanted to focus on Dragonlance and knock that out. So I've been writing it for or working on it, I should say, for about a year and a half now.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. About as long as we've been doing this.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of work.
Yes.
And we're almost at the finish line here.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And I'm ready.
You're ready?
Yes.
All right. Well, then let's talk about that. So,
module.
For people who are not familiar with Shadow Dark, right? Why don't you give us a little? I mean, I actually did this the other day, and you totally failed at this. But like, all right, 20 words or less. All right. Tell us what Shadow Dark is.
I would call it 5e basic, simplified 5e, but a bit more lethal. There you go.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Yes.
Okay, very cool.
It takes the best of the old and the best of the new and matches it together. So there's a lot of elements from like old school D&D, such as dark vision didn't exist and all that. So light sources are very important. And then, but it still has things like advantage and disadvantage. Like if you know 5e rule set, you can very easily learn Shadow Dark. Because that's basically what she did. She took 5e, she got rid of stuff she didn't like, and she just worked backwards. And then it was enough to justify making her own system. So, yeah.
It's really, really cool. And I don't want to give too much away because I want them to find out, just like our players going to find out. But you know, like I've already got all the books, and of course the shop has an order that's on its way. It should be. I was say it should be here any time
really
now.
Buy it because I own it all, but I might buy extras too now.
Yeah, I've got all the books here in the store this week, and then I've also, you know, I've been reading through just so I can be there to help players, you know, for you know, when you've got stuff going on. But one of the things that is in the system is light sources are pretty important.
Yes.
And before we get to that one, in Dragonlance, okay, we are candles and coasters, right? Like candles play a big part of what we do.
Oh yeah.
In Dragonlance, everybody has 3 candles in front of them that represent their death saving throws, and as they fail them, they turn their candles off so that once all 3 candles have been snuffed, the characters themselves have been snuffed.
Yep.
In Witchlight, the candles that we were using, nobody started with any actually illuminated until they found their lost thing, and it was returned to them, and then they got to turn their exactly. You got your horns back. They got to turn their candle on. So for Shadow Dark, how do you plan to use the candles?
It's going to be 1 candle in front of each player, and it will be turned on when they do a light source. So if they cast a spell, light a torch, they will turn it on.
Now, why is that important? What is so important about light sources in Shadow Dark?
Because when you are caught in darkness, especially in total darkness, you start having, first of all, you have disadvantage on just about everything you want to do.
Right.
Which sucks. And then, so Shadow Dark has like a random encounter. The game works in rounds. And usually if you're in like an unsafe area, every 3 rounds, I make a random encounter. If I roll a 1 on a d6, another random creature's coming. And those random encounter rounds are also in combat too. So every 3 rounds, if you're in a dangerous area, then it's every round. When it's darkness, it instantly becomes dangerous and the monsters are coming for you. But in the module that I've been working on, that's even elevated more. Because in this, the Shadow Dark and Darkness itself is going to be a more force. This is why the module, which I guess I'll now name drop it here now, it's going to be called the Force of Shadow. So essentially,
Force of Shadow, you heard it here first.
In this world, complete and total darkness sucks because there's this tendril, shadowy like force that will come out, and it is going to like try and kill you. And usually only light can really stop it.
That's exciting.
So if their torches or light sources go out, they're not only going to have to deal with monsters coming for them, but also the shadowy force coming after them.
So what's to stop players just from having a light source always on?
Because they only last for so long. In the game, like rules as written, light sources only last for an hour, but that's generally designed if you're playing the game for a 4-hour session.
So an hour in game?
An hour in real time.
Oh.
So when a player says they're lighting a torch, I will set a timer, and then it's usually an hour.
They turn their light on.
Yep, and then they turn the light on, and then that lets me know who has the light source, because in Shadow Dark, DMs have a mantra called Attack the Light. In fact, that's the next shirt I'm going to buy.
Nice.
It says Attack the Light. So by me seeing who has the light source, I know. And the enemies, the dark, so bad guys and monsters in Shadow Dark, non-humanoid monsters, are what's called dark adapted. They're the only ones who can actually see in the dark. And they know that if they get that light off of you, that they have more of an advantage of killing you or doing whatever they need to do. So by seeing which player has those lights, I'll know that those are the ones that need to be attacked.
Very cool. So we're going to get to see some real interaction here with these candles as they play. Every time somebody lights a light source of any kind, you start a timer, a real-life timer.
And because we only stream for 2 hours, Shadow Dark has a mode called Blitz mode, where sources only last 30 minutes, and we'll be playing that.
Oh my goodness, that sounds very exciting.
Because, yes, Shadow Dark has, like, pillars that they kind of want you to follow. I mean, you're allowed to change anything you want. If you don't like something, toss it out. They even say that in the book. But one of the pillars of Shadow Dark is light has to matter. So this is a way to make it really matter, especially in this module, because, you don't want to be caught in darkness.
Very cool. All right, one last question. I'm going to let you run.
All right.
Okay. So you played in Wild Beyond the Witchlight, right? You've played now in Dragonlance as well. Out of the two, what do you think your favorite moment is? Like when you immediately think of the stream, like favorite moment for the stream. Favorite, hands down, immediately, like, first thought.
Not one, not the other.
I mean, you can absolutely give us both. But what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I don't know. Well, for Witchlight, it's Jericho, all of Jericho. He ran.
You level up.
Yeah,
it's okay. Yeah. Go ahead and take that extra level.
But just hands down. In fact, it was funny because I would go home to Fidela, who's my wife, and I'd be talking. I'm just like, I cannot upstage him. Like, how is it? Like, I cannot compete with that. That would be a great, but no, I can't compete with that. So I'm just trying to, like, no, I need
sorry.
Sorry. No, it was great because I was glad because that character was hilarious. So yeah, that was probably my favorite thing about Witchlight. For Dragonlance, the biggest moment, I have quite a few. Anything involving Durin. He's my favorite. So.
Durin is a fan favorite. He's a house favorite as well. And we love Tavares, of course.
But the thought that always comes to me was when Aaron blew up those boats.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was modding and watching, and I think I was building some Warhammer. I think I remember, like, dropping. I'm just like, you did not just do that. It's like, yeah.
That was an explosive moment for sure, in game, as well as among the players afterwards when the camera shuts off. The amount of just, I don't even know how to, it was just emotion, raw noise and emotion that happened afterwards. That was fantastic.
You're nicer DM than me because I would have killed him. I'm not, you dead, bro. Like, roll a new character.
It was close. It was so close. And I was like, I don't want to kill these characters. I've got to punish them because that was so bad.
Yeah, you handled it very well.
Yeah, because I'm a very realistic DM, and I was like, oh gosh, okay, I'm not going to kill you outright, but you're going to lose everything. There's going to be some permanent damage here, and then you're like, you have to be saved at this point if you're going to actually live. Okay, cool.
But yeah, that's probably my favorite moment.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Well, I look forward to finding my favorite moment in your next project. I'm very excited for what you've got coming next. And thanks for coming tonight and being a part of the Q&A here with you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty. So next up, we're going to have our moderator Shiny, and he played in both games as well. I'm going to go back and answer some questions here. Let's see. Okay, what other characters do I have in mind that I would like to play or introduce? Currently I don't have anything right now that I'm thinking of. I'm actually looking forward to taking a break and getting to watch, everybody else play and be a viewer and be surprised by everything. So I'm not really thinking about my next character right this moment. So yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming next. Speaking of, let's get Zeal up here. Shiny, you ready?
No.
Oh, he says he's not, but here he comes. All right, everybody. Shiny Derpachu is in the house. Shiny is, you'll see him in our Twitch stream chat. He is one of our main mods, one of our main guys. You've been a part of this for a while too now, and you've got to play in both Wild Beyond the Witchlight as well as and Dragonlance as an NPC of honor. And let me get to your questions here. I had some better questions, and I wish I could get to those a little easier than this. So let me see if I can. I can't believe it didn't. That's my fault, y'all. I thought I had it printed everything, but I definitely did not. There it is. I got it right now. Okay, sorry. So let's start with your most recent character, Zeal. Let's talk about where did the inspiration for Zeal come from?
So the actual full inspiration of Zeal himself.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted to see how overpowered and how broken you could make a ranger.
Yeah.
Because I'm currently in another campaign that I'm playing, I'm actually playing a Haragon Ranger as well.
Mm-hmm.
But he is actually multi-classed into a Rogue Ranger.
Okay.
But I wanted to see how far you could actually take just a Gloomstalker Ranger itself.
Okay.
And so kind of building off of that, I wanted to go on from there. And
so mechanically you were looking at it from a optimization point of view. You wanted to see just how broken you could make him.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Now what about
in terms of like, I just wanted to see what a more end game Ranger would feel like instead of being, like the level 5 or 6 Ranger that he is in my other campaign.
Sure. What about the role play of him? Where did that come from?
I mean, the little bit that actually has been happened and has actually been portrayed in one of the very prominent episodes of Zeal's return and being shown the full extent of what has happened to him in the time that he was gone.
Yeah.
That was well needed, and the times leading up to it, I was just wondering, I was like, okay, well, what can I do? What can I do? What am I going to do? When am I coming back? What can I build up for? What can I lead to? How am I going to think about what's going on? What can I do to make it as dramatic as possible? Because the party saw him get taken off by that Draconian that was disguised as a ram.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they just see their little bunny friend being carried off into the distance and then gone for like the next 6 months.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, I just wanted to think and be like, what could I do to make this as dramatic as possible and make it as heart and gut wrenching?
Well, you did that for
as
sure.
could possibly be when they finally see what happened to him.
And I know we kind of talked about this a little bit because I was trying to prep you for that moment when the party finds Zeal in the tent. And it just so happened that it ended up being Astral that found you.
Right.
And I talked to you a little bit about like who was doing the torturing. So when he comes into the tent, it was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so bad.
Yeah.
What went through your mind when you realized, Astral's walking into the tent? Like, how did you prepare to handle that situation as Zeal, as well as a player, knowing like, obviously it's really Astral there, but like you have to pretend otherwise as a player. So like, what went through your mind in that moment?
So as a player myself, I had no idea who was going to show up.
Right.
Because like it was first come first serve at that point. It was just like it could be anybody that walked through that tent.
Yeah, I mean if it had been Durin.
Yeah. And then
or Reverence.
Yeah, well, saying into the terms of the whole doppelganger thing, with it being Astral, that led into the, oh no.
Yeah.
If it had been Reverence or Durin or any other character, he probably would have been more tame.
Sure.
And less hostile towards him. But when it happened to be Astral that walked through, and it was just the look of sheer terror, knowing that, okay, this is the guy that's actually been torturing me for like the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Why are you back? I've already told you everything that I could have possibly told you.
Yeah. Was that hard for you to play that character during that moment? Like, I mean, that was some pretty heavy stuff that we had to deal with there.
Yeah.
But as a player, it's this is all what do they call it, stage dressing set,
Yeah.
setting. But you still have to get into that mindset. Was it difficult for you to put yourself there?
Not really, in sense, but it's just like waiting to see who's the one that walked through.
Sure.
And whoever's the one that walked through is having to come up with all the situations on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happened to be Astral, even though we did kind of pre-plan it a little bit in before, but
you and I, they had no idea.
Nobody else but me and Alex.
Because we had to talk about
what was going on with
that
this.
entry that we had planned. So like the day of, I was very clear, like down to the minute of how you were to enter the shop, how you were to hang out, like all the way down to the moment where I was like, okay, I'm going to say these exact words. And you're going to just come walk in. There's going to be a chair to my right. You're just going to sit in the chair, right? Now, only you and I knew this was coming.
Right.
Because I was like, I swear, Shiny, do not give this away. Don't hint at this at all. I go back and watch that episode and watch the players' faces as you come in and sit down in that chair.
The first one to actually see me was Loretta.
Yeah.
Because I kind of stopped in the middle of the hallway for a second, and she just so happened to look up and see me. But then everybody else kind of like turned and saw, and they were like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, it was a great moment. It was super planned between you and I, and it is hard to pull off surprises on these party members, because we're around them all the time.
Yeah.
We talk all the time, and only you and I knew what was coming, and I was so pleased with it. I loved how it went off. I thought it was amazing. But let's talk about your original entry. The first time when Zeal actually enters the story of Dragonlance before he has met the party, right? And we talked a little bit about how that was going to look.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, like in most D&D games, and you know this now being a DM because you've become a DM since we began all of this, the players often do not go along with the plans you as a DM have set, and they throw you a curveball.
Of course.
And I think we had that because you and I originally talked about how you were going to be on the wall, and you were going to be like, you're going to see what was going on. You were going to start shooting down into the enemies and take them out and help out this party and stuff. Like, you weren't supposed to be there. We talked about like how your character was like, not supposed to be on the wall, but you saw something. That was the idea, was you were going to be up there anyway, despite your orders.
Right.
However, we get you start firing, and their first thought is not, oh goodness, somebody is helping us. That's right?
Yeah.
Like
God?
Yep. Yeah, exactly right. They start thinking divine.
Are the gods back?
Yeah. And we get this lovely catchphrase that gets started, right?
The rods from God.
Rods from God, right? That ended up sticking, even though it was completely unplanned. It was just a one of those brilliant moments that happen where everything comes together and somebody says something and it's just the right, perfect thing to say, right?
Yeah.
How have you leaned into that since that first encounter?
I mean, just in terms of the way that you've described the ammunition that he uses and everything, it's just giant javelins.
Mm-hmm.
Being that you gave him a 4E great bow. That's
true. I did. They don't. I don't think people at home actually know a little bit about that kind of stuff that you've got going on. If you want to tell them a little bit.
So the whole term was like, I was just gonna have just a regular longbow and just be taking sharpshooter, as well as my first feat being every ranger should take sharpshooter. Right.
Again, we were talking about, it's like you said, you were mechanically trying to break this character. You wanted to see just how optimized you could go.
Yes.
Okay.
But
and then
I gave you the idea of me just taking the longbow and all of that, and you were like, what if I do you one better and give you this great bow that doubles the range from 300 to 600 to 600 short range, 1200 long, and instead of it being a D8 of damage, it's D12.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds way better than a longbow.
Mm-hmm. Did you get to play 4th edition at all?
No, I have not.
Okay. All right. So this is an actual item. If you're out there and you've never played 4th edition, I urge you first off not to. It wasn't the best system. However, it did introduce a lot of very cool things, and one of them is the great bow. And it's exactly what he said. It's this massive, like person-sized, 6-foot tall bow that fires basically javelins. They're not even regular arrows. They're like specially made arrows. Definitely go look it up. You can actually just probably search it on the internet to see the stats on this thing. But it was this massive ballista basically that players could wield. And I was like, if you want to optimize, if you want to break this, then let me show you this weapon. I think you're going to really like it.
Yeah.
And
not bring in copyrighted names and everything. There's a certain game series that has multiple games in the line that's also got like other spin-offs and everything. In one of said areas, you actually like go up a banister and there's other characters that are shooting these arrows at you.
Yeah.
So that's the immediate thing that came to my mind when you said great bow with ballista.
Yeah.
With javelins as the arrows, and I was like, seems familiar.
Okay.
Seems like we're running back for little floating items.
Okay. So I know you want to talk about mechanics. That's kind of like your thing. So it was definitely the focus of Zeal to begin with. So how exactly is Zeal's initiative so busted?
Oh, you mean just the measly little plus 19 he has?
Yeah. The plus 19 to initiative. Like
that, no matter, he could roll a natural 1 and pretty much still go first.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Walk me through it.
Well, I mean, you should kind of know because of Jericho being Haragon.
Yeah.
So Haragons actually have this very cool little trait that's innate to their character. It's called hair proficiency.
Hair trigger.
Hair trigger, correct, yes. Hair trigger, it lets you add your proficiency modifier into your initiative.
Yeah.
And the way that initiative works is always your dex mod, and sometimes with your proficiency as well, depending if the character calls for it.
Yeah.
So that right off the bat already is 9.
So you start at a base 9.
I start at a base plus 9 because the way that the stats were rolled and everything, and the way that I tweaked into his characters and everything. At like level 4, I gave him the ability score increases and everything to get his dexterity all the way as high as it could possibly get, which capped out at 20, so plus 5. And then plus 4 because of his proficiency.
So, all right, so we're at 9.
Correct.
How do we get from 9 to 19?
So, starting from 9, when...
That's first level, right?
Yes.
First level
That's
plus 9.
That's first level plus 9. Then, once we get to level 3, take Gloomstalker.
Right.
Which then you have the Gloomstalker magic that adds in, which then adds your wisdom modifier into your initiative.
Okay, so now we've got your dex modifier, your proficiency modifier, and then you've got your wisdom modifier.
Correct.
So what did that put you at that point?
That is at 14.
14, so you got a plus 5 in your wisdom. Okay,
Yes.
so now we've gone from plus 9 to plus 14.
Correct.
All right. Where'd the other 5 come from?
Alert.
Alert. Okay, so you took the feat.
Yes.
All right.
At 11th level, I believe it was, I took alert.
And then that pushes you up to plus 19. So you always go first.
Yes.
And so those rods from gods are always going to rain on the parade.
Correct.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay. So
building off of that, really funny thing is in my other campaign, we were given custom magic items that pertain to our characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I made mine build into his backstory of Urban Bounty Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
which if you can read into Urban Bounty Hunter, one of the things you can see is that they actually will don a crimson velvet mask and will go into the high-scale hoity-toity, like, soirees and everything and act like protectors. And things that shouldn't be there, they're looking out for.
That's cool.
So, my other character's initiative is plus 14, I believe.
All right, I gotta ask. I have to know. You haven't been playing D&D for very long, right? Like, what would you say, like,
About 7 years.
7 years. Okay.
It's like maybe 6 months before the hurricane.
Okay. Right. Hurricane Michael.
Yes.
It's 2018. Okay, so
from 2018 till now.
So 2018 till now. During that time, have you always been a min-maxer or optimizer, if you prefer? Or is that just something you started doing recently when you were like, I think I want to see just how badly I can, or how easily I can use 5e to break a character?
So, building off that innately, I never planned for it to be.
Yeah.
But ever since I've been young, I've been playing games. So, like, I've had my aunt tell me from ever since, like, 4 years old when she would come over and she'd see me playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got into MMOs.
Sure.
And one of the biggest MMOs that are out there has been out since 2013. Everybody should know it. I got heavy into that. And as we all know, MMOs, any kind of game, it's always about damage. You
Sure.
always the more damage you can put out, the faster things go. And if you're not pulling the numbers, you get benched.
Yeah.
So in terms of it being min-maxing, it all stems from my previous years of playing games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been like, okay, what can I do to better my character to do more?
Yeah. So let's switch gears here. We've talked a lot about Zeal. Zeal's a great character. It's one of my favorites.
Right.
But let's talk about Parthenos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you played in Wild Beyond the Witchlight, and that needs to be discussed, because when you first came into that was actually my first time really playing with you. And as you're that player, like, you know, outside of game, I know you're a talker.
Right.
Right? Like you can fill the silence, and you're always got plenty to say. You've always got a lot of interesting stories to tell, right? But then you get the Parthenos, and we see the opposite of the shiny we know,
right.
Because you are very quiet in that character. Was that just like nerves of being in front of the camera and being on screen, or is that was that the intention the entire time?
So in the forerun, yes, it was the nerves of being. This was actually my first time being fully on camera doing a stream like this. So the nerves was getting to, yeah.
Yeah.
But then slowly, as you would all see if you watched Wild Beyond the Witchlight, that slowly, gradually opened up and started being more of King Parthenos,
yes.
as it was so thrust upon him.
Well, you know, some people seek greatness and others have it thrust upon them.
I want to bring Sai up for a bit.
Okay. That is the voice of Larry giving us some instructions from behind the scene here. But so what was it you think that really kind of brought you out of your shell when you were playing Parthenos?
It was just me warming up to the whole everything. Is like not really knowing about how, like, I was told that it was going to be more of a RP'd, heavy RP.
Yeah.
And then we got into combat, and I was like, okay, well, now this is kind of where I thrive more, is in the combat section instead of the RP, because I had never really done the RP parts and everything. And then you get into the combat, and I'm like, I can do this part, I got to work on this part.
Sure.
And so it's just over the times of me just feeding into the energy from the others, from everybody else, I just started opening more.
And I talked about that with Dustin as well. You know, sometimes you can't do it, but the people around you give you that energy to help you do that. if we've got people watching, elsewhere, obviously, who may be interested in doing this, but maybe feeling a little bit like you did that first couple of sessions of Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
Right.
What advice would you give them?
Best advice that I could ever possibly really give on that form is you just got to do it.
Just do it.
Put yourself into that situation. And if it's not for you, it's not going to be for you, and you can always back out, but you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations sometimes to be able to grow as a person.
Agreed.
And especially as to grow as a character on whatever you're doing. Be it on a game, is it in person, playing D&D.
So just get out there and do it. That's put yourself out there and hope for the best.
Yep. Pretty much. And even when I first started with Aaron Astral's campaign that we do, is I was the new person at that table. The campaign had been going on for a couple months at that point, and I was the new guy coming in, and I was just like, hi, I'm here. I'm here to just play.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other characters, he's unfortunately moved away to North Carolina by now, but we'll never forgive him, never forget him.
Right.
He's my guy. I will always attribute him as the one that actually really pushed me to do this. And my boy, he actually looked at me one time when I just sat down. We were 30 minutes in, and he was like, "Who are you? What's your name? Introduce yourself. Actually, tell us who you are."
Yeah.
And I will never forgive nor forget Arthur for that. And you've helped me out of that too. Everybody here has helped me grow as a person like that.
Well, some I would say some D&D parties are like that. Some people just show up, they're here to roll dice, that's it, they move on. Play their character, play the team, go home, and move on with their lives, right? This is just that little escape that they have.
Right.
But I think that's one of the things we have that's kind of special here, and it causes just as much heartache as it does, joy. But we are doing our best to be more than just the people that show up every week.
Right.
And play together and for 2 hours, and then we take off.
Right. And then not see each other.
See each other. Yeah. We're always in each other's chats and gaming outside of the stream, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely something that new players and new streamers should take into consideration, is lean on the people around you. I guarantee you they want you to succeed as much as they want to succeed themselves, and you only succeed together, right? All right, final question, then I'm going to let you go, and we've only got about 10 minutes, so I want to hurry this one up here. You and I both have played Herringons now on stream.
Right.
Right? You with Zeal, me with Jericho.
Correct.
We had two very different ideas of how a Herringon is played, I think. How would you say Zeal is like Jericho, and how would you say Jericho is like Zeal?
Zeal being like Jericho is all about family.
Sure.
As the way, Jericho never really, being Jericho, he was time lost. Right. He didn't realize that his whole family was still living in time.
Yeah.
Until he got his item thrust back upon him, and then everything from the past however many years came back to him.
Still mad about that.
And he was like, my family's still alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zeal and Jericho are in with the whole family-driven orientation.
Sure. How's Jericho like Zeal, though?
So Jericho would be like Zeal in more or less the determinations of infacto leaderization.
Yeah.
It's Zeal is off in the distance helping everybody else. He's still kind of taking charge with his insane initiative, always going first, so he's carving the path for the party. And then Jericho, he just thrust himself as the face of the party. So he was like, I'm the leader. Nobody else has a say. I'm the leader.
So that was
You're going to follow me, and whatever I say goes.
Definitely, I would argue that he did not want to be the leader. He wanted you guys to lead. He just simply saw opportunities that you did not and made sure that you forcefully met those opportunities.
Yeah. You could say that.
I mean, he didn't set himself up to be king.
He put that onto Parthenos.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Shiny, I appreciate you very much. We're going to get you out of here so that we can get Sai over here to talk to her, which is a complete surprise. And boy, don't you just love it when surprises are dropped on you last second in the middle of a live event.
Right.
Yeah. All right, take off, man.
All right.
All right, Miss Sai, let's get you over here.
That was fun, buddy.
We can thank our lovely organizer here for this wonderful surprise.
Hi, guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one actually is me.
Oh, you allowed it.
Yeah, she allowed it.
Marvelous. All right, Sai.
I like that you think that she could stop me.
Yeah.
So, actually, we wanted to take a minute to say thank you to Alex. He's run a great game for us. We loved Dragonlance, all of us, and we actually had questions for him, and we know that y'all have had questions for him, because he's running the entire thing. So we were like, you know what? We think that we should ask him a couple questions about him.
This is what you wanted to do.
This is what we wanted to do. And now I have 10 minutes.
Oh, my gosh.
You asked yourself the questions that they were asking.
That's okay. I have several questions.
I was asking them from the chat.
It's okay.
Oh, goodness. I didn't know that this was going to happen. I thought we were going to do this like on the Q&A later on.
Q&A is different.
Oh, great.
So, what I got asked to talk with you about, and I've asked these questions myself, so you wove a lot of really unique storylines into this, right?
Yeah.
You pulled from Astral, who was from a whole different universe.
Yeah.
You wove Cyan, and she was very, very, like, that was an out-of-the-box kind of thing.
That was a fun one to do.
That was a very interesting kind of out-of-the-way. So you wove a lot of really good storylines in, and it looks like everyone really got a pretty complete character arc.
I definitely tried, yeah.
You know, and that isn't, unfortunately, always common for a lot of games. They either end before we get our story arcs, we just don't quite make it, or whatever. So, I know someone asked me, like, how much time did you have to spend prepping for something like this? How intense did that prep time become? I mean, normal is 1 to 2 hours for every hour of play, right? But, like, how did this turn into for you?
Okay, so, gosh, that's such a long question, because honestly, every character that sits at my table is important to me, as a DM. Everybody that sits there, I'm very much trying to make sure everybody gets a piece of the spotlight, which can be very hard to do, very hard to balance when you have very strong role players versus very new and quiet role players, or people who don't like improv or don't like being put on the spot. And it can be very difficult sometimes, and it was, especially with Dragonlance, to make sure everybody got a chance to shine. And, you know, we started off with Reverence really was, I mean, Astral too, but Reverence's character, being a young knight of Solamnia, and being the only cleric in the party, in a world where cleric magic didn't exist anymore, right? Like it was gone. And I was like, how do I make this so impressive? Because if you're just watching this and you're like, well, I play D&D, what's the big deal? There's, you know, she casts a spell. It's like, well, yeah, you got to put yourself in the mindset of it's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years since divine magic has worked. So I had to come up with this idea of how does it show when she casts that makes her different, right? And then there was Astral, who not only brought me just an entirely homebrew race entirely that I had to learn and learn the history of, but then he brings me this whole backstory, this whole world that I had to learn, and then the class itself and all of the little twists and things that we did with him. Just about everything on Astral was custom made. So that takes time. And you're talking about session 1. I have to have all this ready to go. But then we get to Sai, and I talked to you about this.
Absolutely.
About in the Dragonlance novels, dragons often take on disguises because of the treaty between dragons. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we had that, and no one would suspect the Kender?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No one in their right mind. And so you and I, we like workshop this whole, like, okay, every level, despite the fact that she's Kender and she's in disguise, like, her dragon nature will be coming out. So we were talking about, like, how do we show that? And you came up with the idea for the scale on the face, and I was like, okay, that's really cool. And then as we continued to play and she leveled and she started gaining more of those abilities, the scale started to grow physically on you on screen. And we had this whole idea of, like, when the big reveal comes, and she gets the full dragon transformation. And we get it just before Camp Carrying Clay, because you actually get to, like, talk with another dragon. Right? And the whole time we kept hinting at that as we were going, right?
We really did.
And then nobody ever grabbed it. So when we get to the camp and you just fully, dragon out, and everybody's jaw drops.
And that was a fantastic moment.
Yeah, I mean, but that was like, okay, so you've got your great big story moment there, and you got your spotlight, but then I have, like, Durin,
right?
And as difficult as Durin was to run in this game, because of the sheer amount of chaos he called.
To run or to rein in? This is a
No,
question.
just definitely
I feel
run.
Like just to try to.
No, I don't even try to rein him
there?
in. Didn't even try to rein him in. Just flow with his chaos. It was so much. It was so fun, so difficult, and to make all the things that he did, like, matter in the story, like with stealing of the cannon,
absolutely,
and firing of the cannon, in the city, and then becoming a follower of Reorx, and all of that, like, making sure that Durin got his moment was very great. Layla coming in later in the game and replacing a player. We had, like, a whole thing for her planned out, and suddenly she's a player, so it was like, oh gosh, don't lose any of that stuff that you've already got. We're going to have to just build on that a little bit. So yeah, Layla was a whole thing, and then honestly, Darrow was the one I struggled with the most. Because everybody had a very clear idea of their characters' motivations, their ambitions, what they wanted. And when it came to Darrow, he was very much the what's the term in stage, like the straight man, he was like he has his moments of humor, right? But he definitely had those moments of, like, how do I make him stand out? And it was so difficult because he built this character to be a blend in. He was very hard to blend him in. And at one point we talked about, okay, let's talk about, like, maybe he has this connection with spiders that he's unaware of. And so it was like, all right, how do I work spiders in, so that spiders keep showing up everywhere? But he was such a difficult individual to try to put in the spotlight, because the character itself does not want the spotlight.
It was built,
and it was like, oh gosh, but that in itself is work. Trying to make sure that he continues to get that. So I don't know, gosh. And then there's just the campaign itself. I can't countless hours, because when I'm not when I'm at the shop, anytime I was in downtime, it was working on Dragonlance. It was working on Witchlight, doing the behind the scenes stuff for like putting everything up everywhere. I mean, it was just it was a fun time, absolutely fun, but absolutely
just endless.
Endless,
work,
absolutely endless.
It sounds like
I mean, if you're me, and you care as much as I do, you practically never stop.
I get it. That is how some of us live. So, one more question for you, because we've only got a couple seconds, and really, I wanted to ask you this because someone asked me, and I thought it was a really fun question.
Yeah.
So, one of our players said they wanted to know how you feel like our characters stack up against our real-life personalities.
Oh my gosh. You want me to sleep on the couch tonight. I can see
you
that.
know,
No.
that was another question.
Not only that.
There was another question like that, but I wasn't going to ask that one
Not
tonight.
only that, yeah.
That
I'm not even
was a
going to
Q&A
sleep on the couch. I'm going to sleep in the van.
Okay. Well, then don't start with Reverend. Start with someone else.
Okay, all right. All right, let's start with Darrow.
Okay.
We just talked about Darrow.
Mm-hmm.
Darrow and Mark
Mm-hmm.
are practically the same personality,
Mm-hmm.
with less Star Wars quotes and trivia coming from him than from Mark. So, like, Darrow and Mark, very similar individuals.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to skip Roberts. Astral and Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I actually save Aaron's, like, in my phone as Astral.
Okay.
Because that is who he is to me. Like,
Okay.
he is absolutely Astral 100%.
All right.
And then... well, then there's Sai. Kara, I've played with you so much.
Yeah.
Every character that you have ever played is you. I mean, you are that Spitfire, songstress, creative individual, and you cannot help but be that in character, no matter what you're playing, because that is just you coming through 100%. Like we talked about, no matter what class you're playing, you're always a bard.
Literally every time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
My
be a
stats
rogue,
still
she's
do that.
actually a
I'm like,
bard.
what's
Be a
happening?
fighter, she's actually a bard.
Yeah.
Like she just you can't help it. Like that's just who you are. Like you are that person. Tavares.
What about Durin?
Let's.
Talk
Durin.
to me about that one, because I think that one for us who know Tavares very well I think all of us are having fun with that one.
Yeah, I've been best friends with Tavares for a very, very long time.
Monkey Man, absolutely. Please send it to us, and we definitely will.
He is my brother. He is my guy. Like he is my dude. If I need to go somewhere, I go to him. And sometimes that's very difficult to do due to my own struggles. But Tavares and Durin are so radically different, y'all. You have no idea.
You really are.
Like, Durin is so wild and chaotic and crazy, and Tavares is not. Tavares in person is so serious and straightforward, and he's fun, and he's funny, but not in the way Durin is. Durin is absolutely a completely different aspect of Tavares that we did not even know existed. When this whole thing began, that was one of my big worries. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so worried that we have such big personalities that Tavares is going to be talked over and he's not going to get his chance to role play. And he shocked me, y'all. Yeah. I mean, I've known this man for a long time.
He's not going to tell you how old he is.
Yeah,
so
no.
He's don't want to tell you that, but like 20 years or something.
A long, long time. And when he broke out with that very first, scene with the volunteers and Vogler and putting them together and when in doubt, throw a rock and Ispin's rolls, I was floored. Alaria and I talked about this for, weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, oh my gosh, who is this person? Where has he been this whole time? I've gamed with him so much. Where has this guy been? Like, this is amazing. I want more of this. And then as we've played, I'm like, I'm so glad this is the only game that he is like that in, because holy bejesus, like he is a ball of chaos and so much just absolute chaos. Fun, but difficult, and chaos. Just chaos. He is chaos incarnate, y'all. Okay, and then there's Layla, and Layla, played by Loretta Fadela. Honestly, I've seen several characters from Loretta, and we've played in several games together, and each of her characters are very unique. Oh my gosh. Rage in the Cage Sage, right? Dragon Rage Sage. Very, very different from Layla. Layla's so cutthroat, you know, so deviously evil, but pirate. I mean, she's just straight up pirate, right? And that is so not Loretta. Like, Loretta is just absolute, I don't know, kind, always wanting to help, always wanting to be involved, always trying to be a part of everything, and always nervous about it too. Absolute anxiety filled. You know, so very, very different. Whereas Layla's super, you know, this is what we're doing. I'll stab you if you don't listen to me, kind of thing. Very, very different. But then there's Reverence, played by Larry, and many, many, many times we've played together over the years. And one of the things that I love about her is that no matter what she plays, no matter what class, no matter what race, no matter what she thinks she's going to play, Larry always ends up playing a magic sword wielder. Like, just without, she's got magic spells, she wields a sword, and in real life, Larry is very emotional, empathetic individual, very generous, very kind, very graceful, and I don't think she would hurt a fly. I mean, she talks a big game. She's got a big bark, but I think that given the you know, if I have to pick one to fight beside, I want Reverence by my side 100%. You know, I want her mounted on Roderick. I want her with the dragon lance in arm, because I know that Reverence is going to just beat down anything that gets in her way. Just run it down, smash it, kill it, you know, in that sweet, kind way that she does. But if there is a social situation, I do not want Reverence with me. Reverence is so emotional, and whereas Larry is such a different, sweeter individual that handles everything with yeah, no, I understand, yeah, that sounds awful, that sounds terrible, oh, wow, that's really terrible, what can we do to make this situation better, okay? And you know, the comments earlier were talking about, like, she's the party mom, right?
Yes. Yep.
And that she's always the amazing party mom. She's always taking care of everybody around her and stuff. And I think that is people putting a Larry into the game, because when the cameras are off, that is absolutely what Larry's doing. She is always trying to take care of everybody. Have you eaten? Have you had something to drink? You know, but you don't see a lot of that with Reverence. So when it comes to a Larry, yeah, very, very different character, different person. And if you ever meet her, she's incredibly easy to just fall in love with, because she is so sweet and so kind and so generous. And see, everybody's like nodding. If you guys can see behind the camera right now. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, yeah. No. Anybody knows me knows this is 100% truth.
I adore her so much.
Yeah,
no, Larry is fantastic, and I don't know. I mean, I've played with her a lot too, and I don't know honestly with our NPCs. And this was, you know, we're not going to get to it tonight. We'll talk about it in the Q&A, but that was something I was going to mention. I mean, with our NPCs, she adopted so many children again, and I don't know that I've played almost any games with her where she doesn't adopt
now that is
a random child.
That is definitely where Larry and Reverence are the same person.
They adopted random kids.
Yeah. Well, Larry just adopts anybody she meets.
She really does.
I mean, just everybody she meets she is going to take care of. She is. Oh no.
Yep.
Come sit down. Let's get you something to
fine,
eat. We did a big convention, and she walked around with a backpack full of snacks and yoo-hoos, and she was like passing out to people as we were meeting them in lines and stuff like that. Like, have you eaten? Here, have a snack and a drink. Make sure you hydrate. You know, very proud of you. Love your costume. So very, very fun individual. Love her to death. So yeah, that's the truth, guys. Meet Larry, you'll love her. She's absolutely a sweetheart. Okay, I think we are way over time now.
We're way over time. We had so many other questions for you, and so maybe I will get to start Q&A with this to make sure we get a couple more questions that we have for Alex as the DM, because he ran a great campaign and kept any of us from turning into murder hobos or, you know, just going ahead and killing each other. Astral and Sai really almost did for a minute. It was a problem. But he kept it all together, and we really, really appreciate him for that, because that's so huge. Anybody who hasn't run a game for themselves, just let me tell you, that's huge. But we are so thankful to have you guys with us. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you the next time that we stream in 2 weeks.
That's right.
For the last episode of Dragonlance. I know we're all really excited about that.
It's going to be a big one.
I'm so excited. I get to continue to be a dragon, so I'm good with it. It's fine. Whatever happens, it doesn't matter. I could die, and I would be good.
All right, Coasters. Thank you so much for joining us once again. We will be back on the 24th of this month for the final episode of Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen, where everything comes to a head and we get some conclusions. And then after that, we will do a Q&A with the whole team so that everybody gets a chance to talk at the same time. But I guess until we see you all next time, as always, keep those candles burning.
Good night, guys.